Hello everyone, my name is Adnan and I survived pulmonary embolism. Last year when I was only 20 years old, I survived bilateral massive pulmonary embolism. Pulmonary embolism is basically the sophisticated name of blood clots on the lungs, and I'm gonna tell you my story.
Heartbeat of my youth, and you could call this a funeral. I'm just telling the truth, and you can play this at my funeral. Wrap me up in Chanel inside of my coffin. Might go to hell and ain't no stopping. Might be a sinner and I might be a saint. Like to be proud, but somehow I'm ashamed. Sweet little baby in a world full of pain.
The fact that I'm talking about this to a camera is driving me crazy because this shit needs a therapist. However, I have a message to deliver. Let me tell you in brief the background of how I got pulmonary embolism, aka blood clots in the lungs. One day I decided to go and start roaming in the displaced Palestinian villages, and specifically Rifta. So while walking around there, I have a video on YouTube that is dedicated for that. You can watch it to know the whole story. I somehow ended up falling in a 13 meters hole, or 46 feet in the American calculation, and went to the ER. The doctor in the next day told me to leave and to not step on my leg because if I do, I would end up crippled forever. And I was like, crippled? No thank you. I'm gonna stay in bed and wait for the MRI. So I left home and was absolutely afraid from stepping on my injured leg. So I stayed in bed, tried to avoid drinking a lot of water, to not keep annoying my family to lift me to the bathroom in order to pee. So lack of water and lack of movement, and I started smoking more and more shisha or hookah in order just to feel like a normal person who is enjoying his time. So I gave my body the perfect conditions of clotting, absolutely perfect. Lack of movement or immobility, less water or no water, in addition to smoking. 15 days later, I started noticing that my leg has these awesome modern colors of that, blue, purple, and all the kind of cool stuff that we see in Euphoria. So I consulted the doctors and they told me, no pain, all safe. I was like, are you sure? No pain, all good. I was like, okay, whatever. But after 5 days, I had a very strong dizzy spelling and went to the ER, and they just told me that you might have cancer in your head, so do a CT image, then let's check it out. I was like, yeah, cancer, cool. 15 days later, it was the time for my birthday, my birthday. After falling 13 meters, it should be an iconic birthday. So my family and I decided to have this huge birthday party as a celebration. So my family went out and I called my barber to come to my home to fix my messy hair as usual. But before he arrived, something haunted me. It felt like I saw a 7-headed monster or something. But an unjustifiable fear. I felt something like grabbing me from my neck, and my heartbeats were not normal at all. It's like having the scariest jump scare but without having something to scare you. When the barber man arrived and he saw my face, he was like, Adnan, you look so pale and very yellow. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling something very wrong in my chest and I don't know what's wrong with me. And it felt like having a panic attack or something, like anxiety, but with every breath I had a crazy pain in my chest, which makes it non-psychological episode. It was very strange feeling to describe. So he took out the robe and tied it well to my neck, and he started shaving, and I was like, no, there is something absolutely wrong. I made him leave and called my family. They were like, we need to get you to the hospital. I grabbed my crutches and rushed out the house in order to reach the ER. Then my sister picked me up and lost her way on the road because she's a new driver, and every breath felt like a stab in the chest. Still I was taking it very calmly, and then reached the emergency room, and the nurse came and told me, what are you feeling now? I told him, do you know the feeling when you run for 3 miles and with every breath you feel a pain in the chest and all the body? That's how I feel. And he was like, no, I don't know what is that. Then the doctors came to check me, and the first doctor put his don't know what it's called, on my chest, and he was like, then he disappeared and came back with 8 other doctors, and they brought this huge device where it has these 2 metal stuff that they put it in the cinema and TV shows in order to resurrect the hero of the movie, and they brought the echo, put that creepy jelly over my chest, and started scanning, and the sound that came out from that device was insane, like a fucking club. I was like, what's happening here? And the doctors were like, nothing, it's all good. Then they took me to the CT section, did a CT scan and brought me back. After that, the doctor arrived and he told me with his broken English, because he doesn't speak my language, he told me, you will die now, and if not now, during the procedure. I was like, what? Maybe I'm just lost in the translation? Say it again, what? You will die now, and if not now, in the procedure. I was like, what procedure? He told me, catheterization. I was like, why? He told me, because you have blood clot. I was like, blood what? جلطة? I started panicking. My mom was next to me, and I told her that he's telling me that I'm going to die now in any moment, and that I'm going to do a catheterization and I don't know what's going on. She was like, don't worry, my mom had a clot in her heart and she survived. But I told her, no, because my grandma is now dead, so it's not the perfect way to support me, mom. So they took me immediately to the operation room, and I've never been in an operation room, and it was all just happening so fast. And my mom told me that everything is going to be fine, but it didn't feel like that. So I entered the operation room, laying on that bed with wheels, and from a distance I could see the silver table and these huge devices. They put me on the silver table and told me that to not be afraid. I was like, yeah, he just told me that I'm going to die in any second, so thank you, that was very helpful. But I kept emphasizing that tomorrow is my birthday, please make me see that day. In that moment when I was lying on the silver table, I had like a storm of feelings. I was like, I did not write my will, but who writes his will on his 20th birthday? I don't know what to tell my family or to my mom. I did not say goodbye. I don't know how I'm gonna meet God with all these sins and blah blah blah. All the kind of existential questions really came to my mind, and the crazy feeling that I felt in my chest and the scary faces of the doctors, it was too much to comprehend all of that. So I decided to shut all these things up and to focus on surviving. So instead of focusing on the fears and these last moments, I decided to keep my eye opened on the screen to follow up with the doctors how they will insert the metal wire from between my legs to inside my lung to absorb the clot or to dissolve it. I was I had no idea what's going on, but luckily I had the screen next to me, so I just kept watching. And every 10 minutes I just keep reminding them that in 13 minutes it's gonna be my birthday because it was like 11:30, and that I want to see myself turning to 21.
I beat my youth, and you can call this the funeral. I'm just telling the truth, yeah, and you can play this at my funeral. Tell my sisters I'm crying, don't be sad. I'm in paradise with dad. Closing my eyes and I cross my arms. Put me in the dirt, let me dream with the stars. Throw me in a box with the oxygen off. You give me the key and you locked every lock. When I can't breathe, I won't ask you to stop. When I can't breathe, don't call for a cop. I was not even hopeful and lost. Now I'm aware and driving my thoughts.
The doctors did not take away all of the clots. They just took the most dangerous one and left the rest for the body to dissolve with time and blood thinners. When are you going to buy your coffin? Because you fucking need it. You survived pulmonary embolism, but what about its complications? Pulmonary embolism did not survive you. You're the monster here and you should be fucking proud for it. There is no hope. The other clots will travel one day to your brain. You're gonna have a stroke. You're having one now. You faced death twice in a month and you survived both. Oh, sorry for what I said. It will never travel to your brain because you don't have one. You're a fucking pathetic piece of a stupid human. That's my boy. That's my fucking boy.